Hello everyone, and welcome back to my living room as we are jumping back into another week of confirmation. First, before we get into this week's lesson, I have to thank you for the people who sent in their creative projects for their Easter dioramas and different things. We had posters, we had stage settings, we had pictures, we had Play-Doh dioramas, we had drawings, tons and tons and tons of different creative ways of looking at this, and I really enjoyed it. We'll hopefully, as we get together again, be able to share some of those more with you guys. That was great work. If you haven't done it yet, you can still do that. Continue to do that. Mine, I'll put right up here. This is mine, and it's kind of twofold. One, it reminds me kind of Good Friday and what that whole thing, the whole passion story is about, but also the Bible verse that Pastor Corey gave us of nothing can separate us from the love of Christ. The whole reason that we went through this was for the love of Christ, and nothing can separate us from that. So, second of all, before we jump into it, we have a couple final announcements, and I have a couple notes here to help remember for me. First, this is hard to imagine, and I've had a hard time rationaling being able to process this myself. But 7th and 8th graders, remember that next summer, so 2021, is the National Youth Gathering in Minneapolis. So I'm still trying to look at and figure out and get all that stuff going. But again, help keep that on your radar along with your parents' radar, that is still coming and that is still planned to go ahead as planned at this point. The second thing is something that I am going to offer. It's totally optional. It's completely up to you. And that is, if you are wanting to connect with me and just be able to talk some, have some one-on-one discussions, or you have questions, I would love to set that up with you. If you want to have a Zoom meeting, a phone conversation, even just texting me back and forth. If you remember from that first night, I gave you guys my card. Otherwise, your parents probably have either my email and or my cell phone number. So feel free to reach out. I'd love to set that up with you guys. I'd love to continue that interaction back and forth. So this week, we are going to continue going into this whole idea of Easter in another way, and that's the whole idea of being born again. Parents, don't worry, you're not having to have another child, and you're not going to have to go through that again. It's the new life that we are breathed into, and we're going to have kind of discussion questions about that this week. Nicodemus, who is a leader of the temple, is questioning and trying to understand what is Jesus meaning by this new life. And it's really important, I feel, right now to be thinking about that and considering that, because you are going to be a major part, just like me, of this new life. Because as we've changed everything, as we're going through this crazy world pandemic, when we're able to get back together again, it's not going to be exactly the same way. And we're going to have new life, this born again within the church, and you're a major part of that. So it's something to be thinking about, something to be considering, and I would love to have conversations with you on that, talking about what are things that you think that should change or happen within the church. It's a really important part of this. But keeping that in mind as we're digging into and thinking about what this new life, being born again, is all about. I look forward to seeing your answers. Send me a selfie with your answer on a sheet of paper. So your picture of you and your answer, I'd love to see that together. That's your assignment this week, and I'll see you next week. Okay, you're still here? I was just checking to see who actually watches all the way to the end of the video. If you want, at the end of the sheet of paper when you're putting your answer, put that I am part of the born again church. That's another thing to be putting in bold letters at the bottom of the sheet of paper, and that way I know you watched all the way to the end of the video. I gotta go. Stop.